First and foremost, before we get started, I like to give all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem, Rekah Kwadash, and double honors to those great millstone, while lunch is truth, and also to those elect that is scattered abroad. I like to say, Shalom. Come back here today with another great and powerful lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah. And the type D lesson is the love of many shall wax cold. So I like to say shalom to all our listeners and learners. Hope to sweep you today and guide you back in the path of righteousness and back to your true power, which in fact is Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah. So before we start today's lesson, I have a quick news article here by WLBT3 on your side. And it reads, it said, shooter allegedly kills man, goes next door and kills woman after being refused to hide him out. Let's get a little bit more. It says here, Jackson, Mississippi, WLBT, right here in my own backyard. It says a suspect allegedly killed a man and then went next door and killed a woman after she refused to hide him out at her home. So according to Jackson Police Chief Joseph Wade, the crime happened on McDowell Circle around 3:30 Sunday afternoon after a disturbance was reported at a home. Police say that after the suspect allegedly killed the white male 33-year-old Kerry Frost due to a disagreement, the suspect then went to another home to hide out, but the homeowner refused. When the black female identified as Tiffany Johnson, 37, refused, the shooter allegedly killed her as well. It says here, two stolen vehicles has since been recovered by police at the scene, and a suspect is in custody. Salakia said Jarvis Anderson, 36, will be charged with double homicide. On Monday, he was denied bond during his initial appearance in court. So this is the guy right here that unalived a so-called white man. Also, he unalived a so-called black woman, Eve, because she refused him. He had unalived this man, and he went to her house to hide out, and she refused, and he unalived her. So this man right here, you're already knowing that he had a spirit of vengeance upon him. Look at that face. He already knowing he got those spirits on him, and the Lord, one thing about it is constantly causing these things to happen left and right. The Lord said, I kill, I wound, I make alive, I do all these things. So these things are always constantly happening left and right. Why these things are constantly happening? Because the Lord is constantly bringing forth judgment. He said first my judgment would start at the house of Israel. You wicked Negro men, you wicked Negro Eve, Negro women, you wicked Latinos, you wicked Native Indians. I'm talking to you. It's time to return to your true power while you still have time, and one thing about it, we know that we have a rebellious house, to this day. And one thing about it is that, this man right here, we seeing that photo once again. Let's go back to it. This dude named Jarvis Anderson, we already know that he had a spirit of vengeance upon him. So he executed judgment from who? Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. He pleased the one, that created those spirits, did the bidding of the Lord from the left-hand side. And one thing about it, the Lord constantly bringing forth that judgment each and every day. First, my judgment will start at the house of Israel. That's why we constantly seeing murder after another murder. We constantly seeing killing behind another killing. We seeing shooting. We seeing all sorts of iniquities. constantly running rapid right now. Wickedness is exceedingly great. And one thing about it, we already know that it's going to constantly increase. It's going to constantly pick up. So the Lord has the issues of death belonging to the Lord. So the Lord calls all these things to happen left and right. And also we seeing blood touching blood. And also the love of men is constantly waxing colder and colder each and every day. And one thing about it is going to constantly pick up. That's why the Lord said that, a lot of our people are very rebellious, very despiteful, constantly turning their back on Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua. That's why the Lord is causing all these great calamities and different events that's taking place all around the world. These different judgment. So the Lord said, I shall choose your delusion. The Lord shall choose your troubles. He shall choose which way he wants you to be unalive. So the Lord is no one to be played with. All the games about to be over. And a lot of our people right now, they are destroyed on this side. They are good for nothing. They are reprobates. And this man right here, he got mad with this Eve, with this so-called black female, Tiffany. I can't think of her last name. Her name was Tiffany. And, and it made the Lord, have mercy upon them all, except for that damn Edomite, judgment, but we know this is a part of the Lord's judgment. So we seeing right now that, this man, he got angry because this woman would not hide him and he unalive her. That's why, Eve you got to shut your damn mouth. One thing about these things gonna constantly happen to you, Cannot exert the authority over the man, but it's not even speaking about this lady, the Lord, that the Lord will have mercy upon. I'm just speaking in the spirit. But one thing about it is that we knowing that these things are going to constantly happen. The Lord is constantly bringing that judgment down. The Lord said, I come not to bring peace, but a sword. And that sword goes into judgment. So now I have a quick video. I'm not going to play this video. I got another video on the TikTok. We're going to bring that one video out. Then we're going to start the lesson. And once again, I hope that you will get edified. And let's read this once again, the title. This news article. It says here, shooter allegedly kills man, goes next door and kills woman after being refused to hide him out. So one thing about it, we already know the Lord put that spirit of vision upon him, so one thing about it, the people are on the edge, people right now, they don't have anything to lose. And one thing about it, we already know that Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, the devil that the Bible speaks, he has worn out the saint. People are sick and tired of being sick and tired. And that's why you're going to keep seeing these things each and every day. But it's all through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua, blood touching blood each and every day, and it's going to constantly increase right before his great and glorious return, and also our salvation is at the door. So now, I started this one video clip, and after the video, we'll start the lesson, and I hope that you will get edified.
Very good. Yes. Everyone, thank y'all for coming out. First of all, my heart, prayers, and condolences go out to the families of these two victims. We have one victim that is a black female, one being a white male as well. We have two victims that have lost their life in the 1100 block of McDowell Circle here this afternoon. Jackson Police Department received a call at about 3:30 this afternoon in reference to a disturbance at this location. Upon their arrival, they observed that a white male had been shot. They went next door and found that a black female had been shot as well. Based on the information that we have, the suspect had some type of disagreement with the white male. He shot and killed him. He went next door for them to hide him out. They refused to hide him out, so he took the life of a black female at that location because she did not want to hide him out next door to where he had just taken someone's life. We have recovered 2 stolen vehicles at these locations. We don't know if that had anything to do with the altercation. We do not know. But we do have a suspect in custody. We anticipate that he will be charged with double homicide today, double murder, because he took the lives of these 2 individuals on a Sunday afternoon here in the city of Jackson. His name is Jarvis Anderson, black male, 36 years of age. He's been taken into custody. He is downtown for questioning as we speak. We do anticipate charging him with both of these homicides today.
So now let's start today's video. And once again, I hope that you will get start today's lesson. And once again, I hope that you will get edified. So we'll start here in Hosea chapter 4. And we'll start up at verse 1. It said, "Hear the words of the Lord, ye children of Israel. Said, for the Lord has a controversy with the inhabitants of the land. Said, because there is no truth, no mercy, no knowledge of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua in the land." Verse 2, here's the point. Said, by swearing and lying and killing and stealing and committing adultery, they break out and blood touches blood. So let's read that in the NLT. Hosea chapter 4 and verse 2 said, you make vows and break them. You kill and steal and commit adultery. Said, there is violence everywhere. Said, one murder after another. So that's exactly what we constantly seeing each and every day, blood touching blood. And also we already know that it's no mercy, no knowledge of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua. That's what the Lord said in Jeremiah chapter 4, I think around verse 22, you know, my people are sottish, stupid children, they're foolish. You know what I'm saying? They have not known me, but they are quick to do evil, quick to kill, quick to murder, quick to have no mercy. And one thing about it, the Lord already seeing is left and right. They are a rebellious house to this day. Let's read verse 2 again in NLT. It says, you make vows and break them. You kill and steal and commit adultery. There is violence everywhere. So one murder after another. That's constantly what we see in each and every day. But who is causing these things to happen left and right? The Lord is causing these things to happen. The Lord is bringing forth judgment each and every day. In the middle of the Lord, we're constantly warning you left and right. A lot of people right now still don't believe, still are despised, still are scoffing and mock, still, are living in all their sins, constantly adding sin upon sin, their iniquity, and one thing about it, they love the evil and they hate the good. And one thing about it, but the Lord is constantly choosing their delusion, their troubles, their misfortune, their calamities. The Lord is constantly showing them left and right. So now let's go ahead to Matthew chapter, just a very quick lesson, just through the Spirit, something I've seen. I decided to bring it out because, hey, this is just essentially what he did. But we already know that man had spirits upon him. The Lord, put those spirits upon him. And he executed judgment for it. So that basically was judgment from the Lord. Once again, the Lord said, I kill, I wound, I make alive, I do all these things. So the Lord is calling these things to happen, whether they're good or bad. The Lord is in perfect control. Matthew chapter 24 and verse 12 said, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. So we seeing that sin is rampant everywhere, constantly increasing left and right. And the love of many is constantly growing cold. You know what I mean? When you go into that word cold, it goes into psycho, a person that is very aggressive, a person that is unstable. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people right now are worn out, sick and tired. They like a hair trigger right now. Do anything and fall for anything because they don't have faith. They don't have works and ideal about it, they don't believe. And one thing about it, they are going to be totally destroyed. That's why these things are constantly happening. That's why the love of many is constantly waxing colder and colder. And one thing about it, everyone is standing in their lot. So let's read this once again in the NLT. Matthew chapter 24 and verse 12 says, sin will be rampant everywhere, and the love of many will grow cold. And one thing about it, when you go into the etymology of the word cold, it goes into psycho, a person that is unstable, a person that is aggressive. A person that would do anything at any given time. The Lord is causing these things to happen. The spirit of vengeance, is right now is working overtime. They are doing the bidding of the Lord. And one thing about it, man, we're going to constantly see these things constantly pick up left and right. So let's go here, just random scriptures. Let's go here to Psalms. Let's go here to Psalm chapter 78. Psalm chapter 78. Let's get this one right quick. Psalm chapter 78. And verse 49. Let's get to it right quick. Psalm chapter 78 and verse 49. And he says, and it reads, he said, he cast upon them the fierceness of his anger, wrath, and indignation, and trouble by sending evil angels among them. That's exactly what the Lord is doing, because of what? They're constantly walking in great pride. They don't believe. They're constantly despising the words of Yahweh. How is they doing that? Because they're constantly scoffing and mocking the prophet. And one thing about it, you're not scoffing and mocking the prophet. You're scoffing and mocking the Lord. You know what I'm saying? One thing about it, the one that sent us. And one thing about it, the Lord is constantly bringing forth these things each and every day. The Lord is bringing forth his anger. The Lord is bringing forth his wrath, his indignation, and sending what? Troubles by these evil angels. He's sending among them each and every day. So any given time, someone, just walk right up to you and unalive you. Or you can be at work and boom, and get unalive. You can be driving your vehicle on your way home or whatever you may be doing and be unalive all of a sudden. So one thing about it, it's high time to awake out of sleep, and seek your true power while he still can be found, while the door of penance constantly, while the door of penance is still open unto you. You know what I'm saying? One thing about it, but a lot of people are still a refuser, still a being rebellion, to this day, still a being evil, wickedness, you know what I'm saying? Very wicked. And one thing about it, the Lord is getting ready to destroy the two-part therein will be cut off and unalive. You know what I'm saying? One thing about it, man, we're here. Let's read this once again in the NLT. Say he loosed on them his fierce anger, all his fury, rage, and hostility. He dispatched against them a band of destroying angels. That's exactly what the Lord is constantly doing with these 2:30. These things are going to constantly pick up. Each and every day, the Lord is going to chew your delusion, your troubles, your calamities, the way that you will be unalive. We are constantly warning you left and right. I keep quoting, I might as well get it. So the Lord is sending these evil angels, these spirit of vengeance, you know what I'm saying? So each and every day, so do no one perish being innocent. So one thing about it, we're here, man. The Lord's bringing forth that judgment. We're here, whether you will forbear. So let's get this one right here. I think it's in Isaiah. I keep quoting it. I might as well get it. The Lord lead me there through the Spirit. The Lord shall choose your delusion, your troubles. It says here, Isaiah chapter Isaiah chapter 66 and verse 4 said, and I also will choose their delusions and will bring their fear upon them, because when I called, none did answer. When I spake, they did not hear, but they did evil before my eyes and chose that in which I delighted not. So one thing about it, that's these two-thirds, whatever, we constantly warning them each and every day. The warning cry has went out. You know what I'm saying? One thing about it, we have blown the trumpet, and a lot of people right now still are not hearing, still are not seeing. One thing about it, but the Lord's getting ready to bring the hammer down. You know what I'm saying? That indignation of Yahweh by Hashem. The Lord's getting ready to choose your troubles, getting ready to choose your deepest fears. You know what I'm saying? The Lord is getting ready to be your worst nightmare, because when the Lord called, you did not answer. And one thing about it, the prophets, the one that constantly making these video epistles in the highways and byways, constantly sighing and crying left and right. They're teaching hate speech. I don't want to listen to that. I'm not a Hebrew Israelite. I'm not this. That's not his name. You know what I'm saying? All sorts of wickedness. And one to this day, back in Moses' time, back in Noah's time, and also in these times, there's no new thing under the sun. These are the days of Noah. Let's read this in the NLT, Isaiah chapter 66 and verse 4. It said, I will send them great troubles, all the things they feared, for when I called, they did not answer. When I spoke, they did not listen. They deliberately sinned before my very eyes and chose to do what they know I despise. Yahweh Ba'ashim Abishai. So right now, a lot of people, they don't fear the Lord. They don't love the Lord. They are unbelievers. But the Lord's getting ready to make a believer out of them, because the body count is getting ready to be great. Once again, the Lord said, I come not to bring peace, but a sword. The Lord don't love everyone. Everyone cannot be saved. one thing about it. So 2 part therein is getting ready to be cut off and die on this side because what? They constantly refusing the hands of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. And one thing about it, when the door of repentance was open to them, when they had liberty, place of repentance was there right before their eye, they refused, they despised it all. That's why they wouldn't know death by pain. That lake of fire is coming soon. So we're very close to this time. So we'll close out here. Let's close out here in 1 Peter. Just a quick lesson through the Spirit. Let's go here. The Lord is constantly bringing forth that judgment each and every day. Let's go here to 1 Peter chapter 4. We'll close out here. 1 Peter chapter 4 and verse 17. We'll close out right here. One moment. And it reads, it says, for the time is come that judgment must begin at the house of the Almighty. And if it first begin at us, what shall the end be of them that obey not the gospel of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua? So the Lord is bringing forth that judgment. The Lord is going to get his house in order for you wicked Negroes, you wicked Eve, you wicked Latino, you wicked Native Indians. It's time to seek your true power because the Lord is constantly bringing forth judgment each and every day. The Lord is getting ready to make it plain upon table. That's why we constantly warn you left and right. It's a fearful thing to fall in the hands of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. Let's get there and we'll close out there. So we're seeing right now that, hey, we're constantly warning you left and right. We're seeing that these prophets are speaking loud and clear. We're already seeing what's going on with DJ Donald Trump. We're seeing what's going on with across over there in the so-called Middle East. Things are constantly rapidly picking up. The economy is constantly on the decline. We're seeing that the stage is set. All things are ready. The prophecies are speaking loud and clear. Let's go here to Hebrews chapter 10. We'll close out here. It's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. We've seen what happened with that, with the so-called white man. See what happened with the so-called black lady in that video. That they were both unalive, but that's all through the spirit and the power of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. So let's go here to Hebrews chapter 10. I think it's around verse 30. What I want. Hebrews chapter 10, and we'll start up at verse, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's 30. Yes. Hebrews chapter 10 and verse 30 said, for we know him that has said, vengeance belongeth unto me, and I will recompense or repay, says the Lord. And again, the Lord shall judge his people. So that's what the Lord is exactly doing right now. First, my judgment will start at the house of Israel. Verse 31 said, it is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living power, Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. And one thing about it, a lot of people get ready to find out how fearful the Lord is. Fear the Lord and depart from evil. And one thing about it, that's what's wrong with our people. Constantly being rebellious to this day. And the Lord is constantly unaliving them each and every day. And one thing about it, it's going to constantly increase. Things going to get worse and worse. And one thing about it, we know that our salvation is at the door. Stay prayed up. Pray without cease. Ask the Lord to have mercy upon you. Get your house in order because the Lord is getting ready to return. So the title of the day lesson, once again, is the love of many shall wax cold. So I like to give all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahushua, by Hashem, Rekah Kwadash. I like to say, Shalom, Kwam Yashala, Shalom, Shalom.